This is a long-awaited one because this Kiowa has been something that we've been excited about for a while. It's all finished up, got all its printed elements, and it looks awesome.
Right. This is the Kiowa Warrior, the D model. So the Kiowa as a helicopter has been around since the 1960s.
Sure.
Used by the Army in Vietnam, actually, the late 60s for artillery spotting. And then they would actually do scout. They put in a scout role where it would go in and basically they would poke around and be a decoy to draw fire from the
that's a fun
the
job.
Viet Cong or the North Vietnamese, yeah. And then the gunships, the Cobras or the Hueys would come in and swoop in, and once the enemy was out in the open, expose themselves, they were pretty much toast. But these guys are like the bait. They did in Vietnam, but they did eventually experiment with attaching miniguns to them. Originally, it was just guys in the back with, or even the observer seat with a M60 or something similar, and then they eventually put a minigun on it. I don't know how many actually were used in Vietnam with a minigun. It was kind of towards the end of the deployment there. But
so this is clearly several versions after.
Right. So the Army continued after Vietnam. The Army continued to use these as scout helicopters. They upgraded continually. So this is the OH-1D,
right?
Or OH-58D.
Yeah, sure.
So this would be like the final version. They were actually retired just a few years ago, and it was actually really controversial when they were retired because the Army had nothing to replace these with. So these would actually. This would be the scout helicopter, and instead of using Cobras, they were actually using Apaches. So they would go in. This had all the same avionics on it as the Apache did. So you could see all the sensors, all the missile sensors, everything on all these little greebles on there are actually there for a reason. They're either antennas, some sort of warning sensor, or missile launch sensor. You can see we actually printed the parts on here. It's fairly similar to the Seahawk or the Black Hawk or any Pavehawk, I guess would be the most recent one we've done with all the sensors on it. It's basically able to go in undercover under the same sort of it can go in darkness, day or night. This thing on top was pretty revolutionary. They call it the ball. And it actually is several different night vision cameras, night vision, day vision.
Oh, cool.
I think there's a targeting laser on there. So so these guys can go in, scout the way, and then be followed up by Apaches who will just light up the target. These light up the targets, the Apaches just paint them in.
Well, and it's a total win-win too for model builders because obviously those sensors do very important things, but they also look sweet on this.
right. It's just packed with sensors. It does have its own, in the sort of tradition of the Vietnam tactics, the Vietnam War tactics, they do arm these things. In this case, it does have this giant 50 caliber on the side, air-cooled barrel. Will from Brick Arms made us this nice little feed chute. He made us a couple new feed chutes, which actually I should point out you can buy them separately.
Standalone, yes.
So if you have some of the older Brickmania helicopters, scout helicopters, so if you could actually reset up your scout helicopters with these, there's one that's specifically designed for miniguns as well. So this is a tab to pin configuration. There's a pin to pin configuration, so you can arm your miniguns. So if anybody's seen my Instagram, there is one. I did a Vietnam era one of these in gray color with the minigun on it, which may or may not make a future kit.
Fingers crossed.
So, and you do also get these rocket pods on the side here.
Yeah.
So that's the other armament. Comes with two completely
brand new figures.
Brand new figures. These are Army that have Lando will go over all of these. They do feature completely new Brickmania custom figures, art, and helmets.
I love the 3D printed
So we
helmets.
decided to make our own, try our hand at making our own 3D printed helmets. We think they turned out better than anything that we had to offer, and they didn't have the big old honking night vision attachment on the front.
Right.
I mean, it's there, but it's not as big. It's not functional. It's printed on there.
A little more scaled.
Right. So they'll bang their head on the top of the helicopter.
So back to the helicopter though. There's not a sticker on this thing, is there?
No.
Yeah,
no stickers.
This is 100% printed.
There was no stickers. One of the problems that we have with the black stickers is that you can see the edge lines.
Right.
They're very obvious. So this model, everything on it, even this United States Army on the tail here, that is printed on there. The sensors are all printed. These are sensors similar to what we've done in previous models. There's sensors here. There's missile warning sensors here and here. Those are brand new elements, never used before. They're very typical to this particular aircraft. Right. We did this infrared. This is a infrared scrambler. It's to deter basically infrared targeted missiles.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see it on top of Black Hawks and stuff as well. It does have a pink hue, so we actually printed the top of that. So
it looks really good.
yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. It's like it doesn't necessarily have a glow, but it looks like it's pink glass.
Well, and transitioned into a brick building kit and model, it does look really, really good. So that is a sweet helicopter, highly swooshable as well, especially for these little helicopters that, you know, with all the detail that they have, you don't have to sacrifice any of the sturdiness of the build.
Right.
So that's a lot of fun as well. Anything else you want to cover on the helicopter?
Well, you can fold up the props. You know, these things do fold up for transport. So say you want to put it in your C-130, you can fold it up. I mean, it's quite simple to do. There's actually several ways to do it. And just like the real thing, you know, you can fold up these, the stabilizers. This just takes a little bit of very little effort actually to get those things folded up. So turn that around. Yeah, lots of printed elements. There's a surprisingly large amount of printed elements.
Yes.
So the rocket pods, the IR, the countermeasures unit, all the different sensors, and of course the United States Army, which actually spans tiles and slopes. It's kind of a unique thing. And then of course the all out on the minifigures.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely one of those Brickmania kits where you get a lot for a little in there, or a lot in a little for that sense.
And this would be okay to use just about any mock from like the Cold War almost to the present day. So if you're doing like either of the deserts, you know, the Iraqi operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, the Balkans, all of that, you'd see these present. These were everywhere. Typically, the Army painted them green, but when they sent them to Afghanistan in the second Gulf War, it looks like they just rattle canned them black over the green. So they are black. Black is the correct color. Some people are pointing out, hey, I've only ever seen those green. Well, if you look at the pictures of the final flight, especially, they had like this huge gathering of all the Kiowas that they gathered them all around from around the world and did a giant flight of them. So it was like 50 or so, all flying together. Every one of them black. There's no green among them. So. But yeah, you'll see them, typically in the field, you'll see them painted black, have been since the mid-2000s.
Very, very cool. Well, an awesome model, Dan. Thanks for going over this with me. And then we are going to bring in Landon now because there are two awesome custom minifigures that also accompany this kit. Okay, so now we have Landon because this kit does come with two new figures because we've never made a Kiowa before, with some cool 3D printed elements. So without further me talking, you go.
I think Nugget agrees that this is some of the best minifigures ever made.
You think so, Nugs?
They're okay. No, I actually really did enjoy making these minifigures. It's the camouflage pattern, we've seen this before, OCP, and but I think this new survival vest is kind of unexpectedly one of my more favorite survival vests.
Sure.
Making a really cool combination here. I actually went and tracked down the real life survival vest to try and recreate it as best I could. And it seems to be this survival vest is unique to Army helicopter pilots.
Okay.
So you're not. I didn't see any pictures of anybody else using it, so that was cool. This is a unique feature, and that got that nice green subdued color to it. Maybe that was lining up with previous Army camouflage patterns, but I think it's still kind of a cool looking combination with the OCP camouflage. Operational camouflage pattern camo. Around the neck, you have a LPU life preserver unit, I think is what that stands for. So that's like an inflatable. There's like a pull cord. They poof up and keep them afloat, right, in the water. This vest, it zips up in the front. There's some buckles, and I also included a combat knife, survival knife that is also very specific to those Army pilots. You actually saw them kind of first appearing in Vietnam, I guess you occasionally see pilots still using them because they are badass knives. It's like a flat bottom with an aluminum plate protecting it so it doesn't stab you in the leg.
Wow. That's one of the things I love about these modern figures. It's just like, especially hearing you explain it, there's so much depth to the uniforms that it's just, they got a lot going on, and that's really, really cool.
And on a final note, I should mention the helmets as well. So brand new 3D printed, designed in-house, printed in-house, and then we printed a little bit of UV artwork on the front to get that NVG mount blacked out a bit. But really, really gorgeous model on that, representing these latest pilot helmets. So that kind of completes the package of this insane, awesome kit.
Yeah, I completely agree. An awesome crew for a sweet helicopter, a tactical-looking crew for a tactical-looking helicopter. Yeah. So there you have it. That is the Kiowa Warrior. Make sure to check that out on Brickmania.com. Otherwise, tune in next time for another Designer Studio episode, and thanks for watching.